Welcome. Number 7 in our series, keep it ventilated, maintained, and temperature controlled. Brought to you by the Indiana Healthy Homes Alliance and Improving Kids Environment. My name's Joan Ketterman. I'm the Training Manager at Environmental Management Institute in Indianapolis. Today we would like to introduce health problems if a home is not well ventilated, maintained, and temperature controlled. We would like you to be able to look around and see some of the signs to show that possibly ventilation, maintenance, or temperature is not at optimum levels. And hopefully we'll be able to suggest some solutions or available resources for the residents of those homes, your clients, on how they can maintain it, keep it ventilated, and work on the temperature. Once again, what is a healthy home? It's designed and then built, renovated, and maintained to support good occupant health. So keeping it ventilated, what does that mean? Well, it means if a well-ventilated home has good airflow, clean airflow, temperature-controlled airflow, then these kinds of things won't happen. Symptoms of a maybe not so well-ventilated home can include coughing, watery eyes, some dizziness, feeling tired, maybe some headaches. If it gets to be a more drastic level, eye irritation, rashes, especially respiratory problems, including asthma, nosebleeds, and even as much as hearing loss can go along with that. So how would you know by looking around? It's drafty. And oftentimes you can feel that, or the people that live there will know that. What kind of a smell does it have? Is it musty? Is it a closed up smell? The odors from what they had for dinner last night or breakfast this morning. Is it smelled throughout the entire house, and does it linger for more than a few minutes? Humidity is one of the things you definitely can tell. You will feel that it's humid as you walk in, and you will certainly see signs of that, including condensation on the windows, mold growth, and some of the complaints that we talked about in terms of respiratory issues, among other things. How do we make ventilation simpler, easier, and cleaner? Make sure that the furnace has a filter. People have to determine where the furnace is, where the filter would go, check to see there is a filter, and check to see if the filter is clean. It will need to be changed on a regular basis. There's no way to guess. You can look at the directions on the box, but it really depends on the number of people in the home, the season, pets. So a cycle would have to be established. Is it every month? Is it every 3 months? People just need to keep an eye on it and make that change. Look around the windows and the doors for you can feel the drafts. You can see if there are holes and gaps and fill those in. And that's something pretty simple that homeowners can often do themselves with some caulk, as you see in the photo there. How about the ductwork? Can you hear or see any leaks there? How about opening the windows? If we do, it's a great thing to do. Windows should be open as often as possible, but you really need to have a screen. And so can the homeowner get screens? Can they get them replaced? Those are suggestions that can be made. If there are gas appliances, gas can be used for heating water. It can be for heating the home. Some people use them in the fireplace. How about cooking? They need to be vented properly, and that you may need a professional to come and look at that. But for sure, everyone needs to have a carbon monoxide detector to see if the levels are too high. If it's a wood-burning fireplace, then is the flue working properly? And certainly someone would know because of smoke backing up into the home. Is there a fan that works properly from the shower? You would be able to see that. Is the attic vented? and someone can take a look up there to determine if the house is being ventilated through that fan. So ventilation often needs a professional. Many of the maintenance items can be done by a homeowner. So the number one thing that we look at these days and have conversations about is lead paint. If it's peeling and it's from an older home, lead can cause a problem. How about trips and falls? Depending on the age of the occupant, this is one of the major things that sends our elderly off to emergency visits and doctors and places because uneven surfaces. Asthma symptoms from mold growth, from broken plumbing, water intrusion, carbon monoxide poisoning, burns, faulty wiring, headaches because the filter is not doing its job. So there is a variety of things that relate to some of the other topics we've talked about, but keeping things in good condition makes all the difference to the health of the occupants. How would you know? If you're walking around a house, you look in the inside, you look at the outside at the paint. Paint that is peeling should be looked at in terms of lead-based paint. So some tests can certainly be made to make that determination. How about when you're walking around outside looking at the gutters and downspouts? Are they cleaned? And that can be done by people looking for service hours. The Boy Scouts will do that, as well as Christmas in July types of events. There are many times you can find somebody to help with that kind of thing. The water has to come from the gutters and downspouts and go away from the house. If it's too close, then it can get into the slab or into the basement and cause other kinds of water problems. Look at drains. Sometimes if they're not used on a regular basis, then sewer gases will be build up, and it can be as simple as pouring some water down those and flushing them out on a regular basis. Holes in the walls or the floors, way to pests get through. We talked about that in another session. Torn and dirty carpeting. The amount of dust and debris can be hazardous to your health, as well as a slip or trip hazard. Do the appliances work? If not, then they shouldn't be used because that can cause a problem. Broken doors or windows, not only is a security issue, but again, we can talk about pests, and we can talk about many other reasons that that can be an issue. Can you see on your walk around the property if the roofing is in good shape? Are there any missing shingles? Again, a way for water and pests to get in. So what we'd like is for a homeowner or a landlord to do a regular check of the property, looking for some of these types of items. Checking for plumbing leaks, or be sure to let your landlord know that these plumbing leaks exist. Broken fixtures, and making sure that we repair those kinds of things. Furnace filters, getting them changed on a regular basis. Testing the smoke and carbon dioxide detectors. Replacing batteries when needed, and know that they're only good for about 10 years. And so they need to be changed on a regular basis as well. Keep gutters clean, be sure the downspouts move water away. Those are the kinds of things that are maintenance issues that are fairly easy to do. Inspect the exterior for damage from both paint, holes, and rotting wood, things that have happened over time. Physical types of items that you observed can often be fixed in a fairly simple manner. Another really easy thing to do that is highly recommended is the dryer vent and the lint hose that go with it. Fire can build up. Even if we just change the lint screen, it still needs to be cleaned all the way through because that can be a fire hazard, especially when people use fabric softener. That increases the fire hazard. Prune the trees and bushes that leave 12 inches from the house and from the power lines. If it's too close to the house, then there's not enough air circulation, the paint can begin to peel, and too much moisture can be damaging to the exterior of the property. Flush the water heater and remove sediment and test the pressure release valve. If you can do that from the time that you get the hot water tank on a regular basis, ask that question of the professional who installs it, or read the manual that comes with it, and that is another thing you can do just to help that last longer. Other maintenance items. Appliances. Do you vacuum your refrigerator coils? Again, something simple that most homeowners will be able to do. Cleaning the range hood filter or the drip pans on the refrigerator. Small items a couple times a year that are helpful. The handles, knobs, railings, anything in the property on the doors and the walls secured with the screw, especially your handrails, should be tightened on a regular basis. Deep cleaning the entire house, spring cleaning as we used to say. And that's something that can be very helpful to minimize all of the issues that we've talked about in keeping it clean and keeping it pest-free. And a garage, if you have one attached or not, and while you're cleaning, you look for the holes that can be filled. Check the grout around the tiles, bathtub or shower, and then clean it with some baking soda, vinegar, scrub brush, but you want to make sure that the grout is fully intact, because otherwise water gets behind it and then mold can become an issue. Check the locks on the doors and the windows. Security issues, if nothing else, repair or replace. Check for frayed electrical cords and wires and have those repaired or replaced. Debris from drains, we want them to work. A half a cup of baking soda followed by half a cup of vinegar will help remove some of the gunk and debris that you get. Wait 10 minutes, flush with hot water. Something simple that many homeowners can do. If your shower head's not working very well, you can fill a plastic bag with water and vinegar, as it shows in the visual on the right-hand side, and let it sit for an extended period of time, preferably overnight, and that will assist in cleaning up some of the lime buildup. And lastly, in this session, keep it temperature controlled. If a home is too hot or too cold, not only is it not good for the occupants, it's also not good for the structure itself. It can make health conditions worse than they already are. It can impact the way the immune system works, and of course, extremes, it can cause death. An excessively warm home can be an indicator of a health problem. If someone needs to keep it too warm, that can be something that can be a concern. So if it feels excessively hot in the summer and excessively cold, and certainly carrying a thermometer is an easy way to check those kinds of things if you're there in months where those extremes can be felt, then that can be an issue for investigation to see if something can be made better in that home. Broken windows and doors, of course, are not going to keep the heat in and are going to let the hot air in the summertime and not keep it cool. If someone is using a space heater or an oven for warming up the property in the winter, then that causes some problems for health and safety of the home. If the furnace is not working, as told to you by a tenant, then that's something that would need to be fixed. Furnace filters, we preached on those a little bit already. If there are no fans, then that will also lead to keeping the air not only stagnant and not moving around, but also will not help with the temperature either. So what do you need to do? The HVAC, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning needs to be working. Can you go to the thermostat and poke around at it to see if you can get any results? Are there fans if there's no air conditioning? Do the windows work? Do they go up and down, and are there screens? Do they seal properly? If there are storm windows available, is there someone that can put those on in the winter? And plastic is certainly another thing. There are kits that can be obtained for putting either on the inside or the outside to help do some insulating of the property during the winter months. A programmable thermostat is good for energy efficiency as well as helping to control the temperature. Thanks for being with us for this session. For more information, HUD has a checklist that you can look at for maintenance. There's a guide to home ventilation at energy.gov. Thermostats, energy savers, so Department of Energy, HUD, and EPA are all places that you can find information to give you a hand as you think about these topics.